Two separate energies walked into this reading. I did not expect that. When I sat down and tuned in, I was prepared for the usual singular focus, one person, one situation, one thread to follow to its conclusion. What arrived instead was a split, a fork, two distinct presences, both oriented toward you, both carrying something that is about to move in your direction within the same compressed window of time. And underneath both of them, something else entirely, something that has nothing to do with either person and everything to do with what is about to change in your material world. Stay with me, because this reading has 3 layers and all 3 of them are time sensitive. Let me start with the 2 people because they arrived first and their energy is the most immediately present. They are not connected to each other. That is the first thing I feel clearly about them. They are not part of the same situation, do not occupy the same circle in your life, are not aware of each other's existence in relation to you or perhaps at all. They are simply 2 separate individuals who, by some quality of energetic timing that I cannot fully explain but can clearly read, are arriving at the same threshold simultaneously. 2 different stories, 2 different intentions, 2 different qualities of energy, but the same window, your next 24 hours. The first person, I feel them as the closer energy, not physically closer necessarily, but emotionally closer, more interior to your life. Someone whose presence in your world has a history behind it that the second person does not share. There is something unresolved between you and this person. Not hostile, not the kind of unresolved that has been sitting badly, producing active discomfort or ongoing tension or any of the visible signs of something that has gone wrong and not been addressed. A quieter kind of unresolved, the specific quality of something that has been left in an intermediate state, not because either person wanted it to stay there, but because the precise moment and form for the resolution have not yet arrived. That moment is arriving. In the next 24 hours, this person is going to initiate something, a message, a call, a reaching that comes through whatever channel they use when they are moving from the private space of their own intention into the actual space between you. And what they bring when they reach is not a continuation of what has been, it is a departure from it. Something they have been holding, some specific thing that has been sitting in the unsaid space between you, is about to leave the unsaid space. The content of it is this. They have been thinking about what exists between you with more seriousness and more clarity than you currently know. Not in the anxious, unresolved way of someone still in the middle of figuring out what they want. In the settled, I have arrived somewhere way of someone who has done the figuring and found themselves, after all of it, in the same place. Wanting this, wanting you in it, and ready, finally, to say so in a form that does not leave you guessing. Wanting this, wanting you in it, and ready, finally, to say so in a form that does not leave you guessing. I want to describe what has been happening inside this person in the hours before this reach. Because the internal preparation for saying something significant to someone who matters has a specific texture that I feel clearly, and that tells you something about the quality of what is about to arrive. They have rehearsed it, not in the scripted sense of memorizing words, in the organic sense of turning it over, finding the angle, figuring out how to say the true thing in a way that conveys its full weight without becoming so heavy that the weight itself obscures the message. This is someone who understands that what they are about to communicate matters and who has been treating it with the seriousness it deserves in the private space of their own preparation. That seriousness is going to be visible in how the reach arrives, in the quality of it, in the difference between something dashed off and something considered. You will feel the consideration in it even before you have processed the content. It will land with a different weight than the ordinary communication between you has landed. Pay attention to that weight. It is the most important information the message carries. The second person, different in almost every way from the first. The energy is more external, less intimate history, but a quality of intention that is in some ways more immediately actionable than what the first person carries. This is someone who has been observing you, not passively, with the specific attentive quality of someone who has been taking you seriously in a way that you may not have fully registered because it has not yet been expressed directly. Someone who has been watching how you operate, how you think, how you handle things, how you carry yourself in whatever context they know you from, and who has arrived at a conclusion about you that they are ready to act on. The conclusion is that you are someone worth moving toward, not in the romantic sense necessarily, though for some of you it is exactly that, in the broader sense of someone worth investing in, worth reaching for, worth making a real move toward, rather than continuing to observe from a comfortable distance. The move is coming within the same window, and it is going to feel unexpected because the visibility of their attention has been low enough that their decision to act on it is going to arrive before the awareness that the decision was being built. I want to speak to what both of these people have in common, because despite everything that distinguishes them from each other, there is a shared quality to what they are about to bring that I think is significant. Both of them have arrived at their respective thresholds through processes that were internal and private and did not require your active participation. You did not pull them here. You did not campaign or position or engineer conditions that made their movement toward you more likely. You simply continued being who you are in the full and unedited way that you have been being yourself in this season, and that being produced a response in two separate people through two entirely separate sets of experiences and considerations and internal processes. That is what the 4-hour window actually represents. Not luck, not coincidence, not the random arrival of two separate good things at the same moment. The natural culmination of something you have been radiating without knowing you were radiating it. The specific accumulated effect of a version of you that has been showing up fully and authentically enough that it moves the people around you toward action without any additional effort on your part. Both of these people are responding to the same source, you in your current form, in what you have become. Now let me tell you about the money, because the title names it and I am not going to bury it at the end as an afterthought. It belongs in this reading as its own distinct thread, and the fact that it is arriving in the same window as the two people is not coincidental. It is part of the same energetic pattern. The same opening that is drawing people towards you is also drawing material things towards you. Abundance does not arrive in a single channel. When a person's energy opens, when the specific frequency they are operating on shifts into alignment with what they have been building toward, things begin to move on multiple tracks simultaneously. The relational and the material are not as separate as they sometimes appear. They are both responsive to the same interior state, and the interior state you are currently in is producing movement in both. Something financial is shifting. I want to be specific rather than vague about this because vague financial predictions serve no one. What I am seeing is not a general improvement or a distant possibility of greater abundance somewhere in the theoretical future. What I am seeing has a now quality to it, a concreteness, the specific energy of something that is moving through the final stages of a process and is about to produce a tangible result. For some of you, this is money coming in, an amount that arrives through a channel that has been moving slowly or intermittently, and that is now completing its movement, a payment, a transfer, a settlement of something owed, a result of something you did or created or contributed that has been making its way to you through whatever process was required for it to arrive. For others, this is an opportunity that has a financial dimension, not money arriving directly, but the opening of a door through which money becomes accessible in a form that requires a decision on your part, an offer, a proposal, something that is put in front of you in the next 24 hours that has real material weight and that invites your active participation in whether it becomes real. For still others, this is a resolution, something that has been stuck in a financial limbo, money that was owed or arrangements that were unresolved or situations that have been consuming resources without producing return, reaching a conclusion that releases what has been held. In each case, the direction is the same. Toward you. In each case, the direction is the same. Toward you. I want to say something about the financial movement that I think matters beyond the practical content of it. Money arriving is never only about the money. It carries the energy of the process that produced it, the specific quality of how it was generated, what it required, what it represents in terms of work done or waiting endured or claims finally honored is embedded in the arrival itself. And what the financial movement arriving in this window carries with it energetically is the quality of something overdue becoming timely. Something that should have moved before and did not, for whatever reasons, is now moving. And there is a specific satisfaction in receiving something overdue that is different from the satisfaction of receiving something that arrived exactly on schedule. It carries a slight additional weight of relief, of having waded through the not yet and finally being on the other side of it. That relief is part of what this window delivers, not just the amount or the opportunity or the resolution, whatever specific form the financial movement takes for you, but the ending of the particular quality of waiting that has been attached to this specific thing. It is ending right now in the next 24 hours. I want to speak to something that I feel is important for you to understand about the relationship between the two people and the financial movement. They are all part of the same energetic current, not mechanically connected, but sourced from the same place. The opening that is happening in your life right now, the shift in how things are moving in your direction is not selective. It is not happening in one area while other areas stay static. When a genuine shift occurs in someone's energy, it moves through every dimension of their life. The relational, the material, the creative, the professional, the internal, all of it is in motion. The Two people arriving and the financial movement arriving in the same window is not a coincidence to be noted with surprise. It is the natural expression of a single underlying shift producing results across multiple channels simultaneously. You are in the middle of a turning point, not the kind that announces itself loudly and asks you to prepare, the kind that simply arrives, already moving, already producing results before you have had time to fully register that something has changed. This is that kind. Does this feel like a window you have been sensing building in your life? A quality of things beginning to accelerate or converge that you could feel in the texture of recent days without being able to fully name what it was or where it was heading? Tell me in the comments. Tell me if you felt both people arriving as I was describing them, if someone specific surfaced for each. I want to know what is happening in your actual life right now. I want to speak to how to navigate the next 24 hours specifically, because knowing something is coming is only useful if you can be present for it when it arrives. The most important thing you can do in this window is stay available, not in the anxious, alert, checking your phone every 3 minutes way that anticipation sometimes produces. In the grounded, present, actually in your life way that allows things to reach you when they arrive rather than finding you somewhere slightly outside of your own experience, lost in the monitoring of whether the things are coming yet. They are coming. Your job is simply to be there when they do in your actual daily life, doing the things your day requires, being present for the people already in it, moving through your hours with the specific, grounded, fully inhabited quality of someone who trusts that what is moving toward them will find them. It will find you. It does not require your vigilance to locate you. I also want to speak to the receiving, because the 4 hour window is going to ask you to receive several things in relatively close succession, and receiving multiple significant things in a compressed period of time has its own particular demands. There is a temptation when things begin arriving quickly to begin managing them, to start organizing and prioritizing and applying the Virgo analytical machinery to everything as it lands in real time, to convert the receiving into a project before the receiving has actually been completed. Resist that temptation for the first moments of each arrival. Let the first person's reach land before you begin figuring out what it means for everything else. Let the second person's move land before you begin calculating how it connects to the first. Let the financial movement register in your body before your mind begins building the spreadsheet of implications. Each thing deserves to be received on its own terms before it is contextualized within everything else. The contextualization is coming. Your mind will get there. But the first experience of each arrival, the immediate, unmediated, pre-analytical experience of something real landing in your actual life, is the part that cannot be reconstructed once the analysis begins. Let each thing be what it is, fully, before it becomes part of a larger picture you are assembling. Let me describe the 24 hours from a slightly wider angle, not moment by moment, but the arc of it, what it looks like when it has passed and you are on the other side of it. You will not be in the same position you are in right now. That is the essential thing. Not in the sense of everything having been resolved or every question having been answered or every open thread having been tied off, but in the sense of knowing something you do not currently know, of having received something you do not currently have, of being in possession of information, feeling, or material reality that changes the coordinates of where you are standing in your own life. The 24 hours moves you not to a final destination, but to a new position from which different things are visible and different options are available, and the trajectory of what comes next looks different from how it looks right now. What comes next from that new position is a different conversation from the one this reading is having. But reaching that new position, arriving on the other side of the 24 hours with what it brings, is the first thing. And that first thing is already in motion. Virgo, I want to say one direct thing to you as we close. You have been wondering when, not loudly, not in a way that has been consuming your daily life or preventing you from functioning or tipping into the territory of real desperation. But underneath the forward moving, capable, showing up regardless surface of how you have been operating, something quieter has been asking the question, when does something move? When does the patience pay out in a form I can actually feel rather than a form I have to keep trusting? When does the tide actually turn rather than merely threatening to? 24 hours, Virgo, 2 people, something financial, and the particular, unmistakable feeling of standing on the other side of a question you have been carrying longer than you needed to. The answer is arriving in forms you are going to feel before you fully understand. Let them arrive.